Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome in our meeting with Mr. Oliver Lehmann from Germany. This meeting is based on our audience request to meet Mr. Oliver to discuss about new PMP exam online from home experiment, and to talk about the expected January 2021 amendments in the PMB exam. Me, I am Ahmed Al-Sunusi, researcher, consultant, trainer in business and project management. I have trained more than 6,000 trainees in MENA region, especially in PMB course. I would like to introduce Mr. Oliver from Germany. He's one of project management pioneers in the world. He is famous already in our MENA region, especially with his hard exams. I am joking with him when I'm talking about his PMB exams. At the first of all, طبعا, I would like, at the early beginning, to welcome Mr. Oliver. We really would like to thank him for accepting our invitation to conduct this beneficial meeting. Mr. Oliver has a long history in project management industry, worked as a volunteer in PMI for several years. Mr. Lehmann, for Oliver, he is already have his organization. It's called Oliver Lehmann for Training, which provides several training and exams service for the most famous project management certifications like PMB, Agile, as well. He also a co-founder for Project Business Foundation, non-profit organization, which already worked in project management and business. At the beginning, Mr. Oliver, I would like you to introduce yourself for our audience.
My name is Oliver Lehmann, and first of all, thank you very much for inviting me and for allowing me to be here and to speak to your audience. Yes, I've been a trainer for over 25 years now. Before that, I spent more than a decade, roughly 13 years, in doing projects, in practical project management. My home industry was mostly engineering, it was automotive, it was process engineering, particularly where you bring together machines and chemistry and control systems and people, of course. Yeah, at the moment, my two big topics, one is PMP certification. I joined forces with my oldest daughter. She does the Agile seminars, ACP and such things. That's not me who does it, it's my daughter. Yeah, that's why her daughter. And the other thing is the Project Business Foundation, where we are now talking about projects as business, something you probably know by yourself, because you do projects for other organizations, you send them invoices, they pay you, and that's business, that's project business, something I think we should put more focus on, particularly in the time of coronavirus. But let us talk about this a bit later.
Great. The first question of our interview, Mr. Oliver, is regarding to a short time ago, as you know, PMI has launched the PMP certification test experience from home or office online exam. The first question here, what is your comment on this new dramatical modification in PMP exams? As you know, before it was only from test centers, not allowed to be from home or offices.
Yeah, you talked about one thing. It's new, we didn't have it, and the reason was mostly security questions. It is hard to ensure that there is no criminal action or no illegal action done by people, and that's far more difficult at home. And I think PMI is to some degree still in the learning process here, but they are doing a very good job. They had to do it, and there were two problems with that. One thing is really security. The security expectation of the market is very high. When you are a PMP, you are PMP certified, and you apply for a job and you say, look, I'm PMP certified, then your future employer wants to have the security to the degree that is possible, the security that you got this certification with legal methods, with appropriate methods. So that's a certainty that PMI has to provide people with. The other problem was that the test takes 4 hours, and it's very hard to have people in front of the PC over 4 hours without an interruption. And you know that PMI made some adjustments to the examination, that it was split into 2 examinations essentially, with a break in between, so that people have the possibility to go to the restroom for some minutes or get something to drink and then go on. I think it was an important step. It's a very difficult step. It's a hard step for PMI to do, but I think it was just necessary given the conditions that we have at the moment with the coronavirus crisis.
Okay, I will translate طبعا because we have an Arabic audience here. يعني would like to translate the meeting in brief طبعا in Arabic. مستر أوليفر طبعا بيتكلم دلوقتي على ان اختبار البي ام اي خطوه طبعا مهمه طبعا عشان كورونا، وبالتالي كان يتوجب ان الاختبار يكون يعني بطريقه او باخرى بحل مختلف عن الحل القديم اللي هو عن طريق غرفه الاختبار. بيتكلم طبعا عن السكيورتي ريزونز ومشاكل التامين الاختبار، وبيقول ان البي ام اي يعني بعد وجود بعض المشاكل في الاول، لكن هو زود ورفع مستوى السكيورتي، وبيعتقد ان الموضوع يعني في تحدي بشكل عام، يعني يعني ليس هو يعني مطمئن بشكل عام في كل الحالات، لكن يحتاج الى متابعه بشكل مستمر للاختبار. Okay, Mr. Oliver. The second part of the first questions is about does the reputation of this old certificate PMB could be يعني affected or impacted because as you know in development countries, or يعني we cannot generalize this cases. It's very minor cases. يعني can use any cheating methods to take the certificate. Do you think this new change can affect the reputation of PMB exam?
I think everyone understands why PMI went online with that. So first of all, I don't think that there are people out there who disagree to this step. Not everyone will like it, but no one will disagree to this step. And this means it will not damage the reputation of the certificate. And if you got your PMP before that time now, it will not change the reputation of your PMP certification. And I think also not for the future. One thing that is very important, PMP is not a verification of your skills as a project manager. It's a door opener. It's a door opener to get the interesting projects, to get assigned with interesting projects. And then you still have to prove and to verify your skills and your proficiency and your abilities. So there is still the question, what are PMPs able to do? What are they maybe sometimes better to do than others because they had this preparation process? I don't think that we will see any, I hope we will not see any effect on the reputation.
اوكي مستر اوليفر طبعا ان this question طبعا بشكل عام اجاب انه هو يعني بيقول ان السمعه بشكل عام او السيرتيفيكيت هي مجرد فتح باب للشخص، يعني هي مش كل حاجه، في الاخر لازم يثبت امكانياته وقدراته من خلال سوق العمل، وهو ده المحك الرئيسي، وبيأكد في النهايه ان هو لا يعتقد ان السمعه ان شاء الله تتاثر، وبنرجو كل يعني ان شاء الله كلنا انه يكون هو ده اللي هيحصل الفتره المقبله. Another question, Mr. Oliver, question number 2. There is a lot of talk and many comments on the expected amendments to the PMB test that are expected to be activated next January. What is your view of these changes? As you know, you are author as well, and you have already training materials, PMB exams, hard questions. Okay. Then what do you think? And also, I have a problem regarding these questions. How we can prepare our questions, because I have already questions bank, I need to update it. How we can expecting those changes, the type of change, your comments generally about those changes.
I think we have two changes. One may come earlier. I don't have the clear schedule for that. That's the system which we had so far with registered education providers, with the training institutes, which is being changed now. And there are more requirements on trainers. Trainers will have to go through a train the trainer process to further do PMP classes. And the other thing is the changes to the test itself. And they are very tightly linked with each other, because I think with the new examination, you will need trainers who are better prepared to do these trainings. And actually, since the year 2005, that's now 15 years, I said at PMI, we need better trainers. We need better preparation for the trainers who have students and who talk with students. There are very good experienced trainers out there. They know practice, but they also know how to educate people and how to prepare people for an examination. But we saw a lot of people come and go as trainers who were not really proficient in the trainer job. So I think in total, it's a very good change. Yes, I think it's in essence.
Okay, a very good change. Okay, but we talk about the number of questions that could be affected. As you know, the number of questions now is based on the process group: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and control, and closing. As you know, the percentage, the type of the change. يعني as I am مثلا as an author, I need to update my questions bank, and you as well. How we can expecting the new change inside the PMB exam questions?
I think, first of all, I love the old format with the 5 performance domains, initiating, planning, executing, and so on. I love it really because it's very intuitive. This is how project managers work. This is what we do in real life. These are the things that we are doing. We'll have to get used to the new format, and the same is true for me. But on the other hand, we not only do initiating and planning and executing, we also look at people at the same time. And maybe that's the most important part of being a project manager. And we look at the organizational parts of project management. And in my understanding, which is a bit not fully understood, I think, in PMI, we also look at business. As soon as we have project management as a business, we may be contractors working for other companies, we have to bring money home, then we also have to look at business things. And these are the things that we now find in the new examination.
اوكي طبعا مستر اوليفر بيتكلم بشكل عام في الجزء الاول، اتكلم على المدربين وبيقول ان اغلب المدربين اللي موجودين، وانا اتفق معاه الحقيقه في هذا الجزئيه، ان في ناس كتيره جدا واخده الموضوع يعني بشكل ما عندوش مهاره التدريب، مع يعني واخده ممكن من نواحي مختلفه، لكنه غير مؤهل للتدريب او تقديم تدريب قوي يمكن المتدرب من ان هو يكتسب بالفعل مهارات، ومهارات بالذات تطبيقيه تمكنه ان هو ينفذ وينافس في سوق العمل. ما يبقاش الموضوع فقط لو جات لك كلمه كذا اعمل كذا، لو جات لك السؤال بالشكل اعمل كذا، وفي النهايه يحفظ مجرد حفظ للاجتياز الاختبار. اما بخصوص التعديلات فهو بيتكلم ان التعديلات في المجمل مفيده للغايه، على اعتبار ان هو الاجايل ووجود الاجايل ده امر، يعني هو شايف ان هو امر جيد وانه لازم يكون موجود في الاختبار. another question Mr. Oliver. طبعا as you know there is expectations about PMBOK number 7 edition. The first question is regarding to PMBOK project management body of knowledge version 7. What is your expected date for the publication of this version?
It's the same thing. We have to get used to these big changes that happen in between. I had my own PMP certification with the very first PMBOK guide. This was published back in 1996. I had my exam in 2001. And I saw all these versions up to the 6th edition that we have now. And with all the changes that came, in essence, they had a similar structure and a similar setup. And now we have a big change here. And one thing is that more situational aspects of project management come in. That different projects need different approaches. Sometimes you are more on a discovery journey with your project, and agile methods may be very good. In another project, you have to bring a lot of predictability and order. That's not the world of agile methods. That's the world of more traditional methods. And in many projects, in one moment you have to go more the agile, more the short-term way, and the next moment you need to do long-term planning. So you have to be able to move back and forth between those. And I think that's something that you can see in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition more than in the old editions. The old editions somehow had this situational aspect also in it, but I think it's getting stronger in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition, and that's what it's still not finished, so we can hope and we can expect something from it, but that's what I hope for it and what I expect from it, that it becomes more situational, talks more about how we make the day, and not just the long thing where we think there's a best practice, yeah, a philosopher's stone, a panacea that helps us sort out all things, but instead that it says, look at the situation, look at the people, look at the task at hand, and then make a decision what the right approach is, what the right methods are, practices, tools, techniques, and so on. And that's what I hope. So I'm quite positive on the PMBOK Guide 7th edition.
طب يعني do you think it could be published مثلا at June مثلا or September مثلا 2021?
I saw it, and there were actually two bodies out. One is the actual PMBOK Guide, and the other one was the new standard, the ANSI standard for project management. It's still not final. It's in the process. So a lot can change there. PMI did this to get feedback from the market, and when the feedback is there, a lot of changes will happen. I also gave my feedback on the PMBOK Guide. So let's see what the end result will look like. But what I saw, there are some things where I thought, I'm not happy with that. Then you make feedback on that. And there were other things where I thought, good that we have that now. So, but I think it will be more situational, and that's the good thing about it.
Yeah, but we cannot expect يعني actual exact date. Is it will be published in June or September?
No. There were some plans somewhat by the end of the year, beginning next year, but now we have the Corona crisis, and whatever project you have, it's in one way or the other impacted by the crisis. Some projects get slower because people cannot sit together. Other things will be faster, maybe, because people have more time that they can invest into that. So it's very hard to say when this will happen. Personally, I would not expect it anymore this year. I would expect it next year, but I may be wrong.
اوكي ثانك يو مستر اوليفر. طبعا مستر اوليفر في السؤال كنا سالناه على موضوع يعني التاريخ المحدد او التعليق بشكل عام على الاصدار السابع والتاريخ بتاع نشره اللي هو الكتاب الجديد يا اخوان المنهج الجديد. وكان قال طبعا انه في تغييرات كبيره وكلامه طبعا كان حقيقي مظبوط. بيتكلم ان هو المشاريع مش كلها حاليا تراديشنال، في اجايل وفي تراديشنال، وبالتالي لازم المنهج يكون بيمزج ما بين الاثنين. زائد كمان بيقول ان المنهج الجديد هيعتمد على السيتويشنال اكتر، على البرنس قواعد اكتر منه المنهج الحالي اللي هو عمليات مدخلات مخرجات بشكل لحد ما ممل في بعض الحالات. ونقول هو حالات طبعا انا شاركت من الناس اللي شاركت وديت كومنتات على الدرافت وجالي فيدباك بالموافقه على بعض الكومنتات، وهو بيقول انا شاركت نفس الكلام في الدرافت، وبيقول ان هو ما زال حاليا في البروسيسنج، ما زال لسه، لكن قلت عشان كورونا المفترض ان هو مش هيكون السنه دي خالص. وزي ما انا بتوقع بشكل شخصي، يعني بتوقع، انا سالته كتير على التاريخ لكن هو مش عايز يحدد من تاريخ معين. اتوقع انه ممكن يكون يعني جون شهر 6 2021. Okay. Another question, Mr. Oliver, regarding to يعني new PMB exam from home or office. يعني as you know we are here in MENA region, as you know too many countries have low income for our people. Most of them would like to take the PMB exam, but as you know the fees barriers could prevent him to take this good opportunity to be a PMB certified. Do you think PMI could reconsider the PMB exam fee, because as you know before, the test center take طبعا part from this fees regarding to facilities, logistics, and so on. But now the examiner, sorry, the trainee will take the exam in his responsibility in his office. So the fees, do you think could be decreased a little bit?
One thing is, I don't think that PMI saves a lot of money with doing the examinations at home. This does not save that much money because you still need the proctors. As far as I understand, they have 2 proctors per candidate. They have more than 1 candidate at a time, but they cannot have too many at a time because they have to supervise the candidates. So you replace one cost factor with another cost factor, and I don't think that the difference is that big. Another thing I know is that PMI has looked at fees, examination fees, but also membership fees and fees for registered education providers that they pay, has looked at them for years. We had discussions on membership fees and also on examination fees, maybe different fees in different countries, depending on the buying power of the money there and of the income that people have. PMI has discussed this for a long time. The problem is it's very hard to set up fair rules for such a system, because whatever you do, it may be unjust to some people out there. It's very, very hard to be just in that. And I have understanding for PMI that it's very careful to do that. But we saw a first step, and that's with the new rules for education providers. Becoming a PMI registered or approved education provider will have different prices in different countries, different fees in different countries. So that's like a dam that has been opened, and now I think more will come like that. So my expectation is PMI will do something. I cannot tell you exactly what it will do. Another thing is, of course, Corona crisis. The world is just changing dramatically. People sit at home, have no job, have no work that brings money home, and people lost their jobs, and they need things like the PMP examination to get back into a job when hopefully the recovery of the economies will begin. So I'm sure it's one of the top discussion topics at the moment at PMI, but I cannot tell you where the tendency is going to. But PMI is discussing that. What I know is PMI is looking very, very hard into PMP examination. What is to be expected for PMI? How will this develop in future? And how will it develop for the people?
ثانك يو مستر أوليفر. طبعا سالنا مستر أوليفر بخصوص الاختبار والمبالغ الماليه، وانا قلت له يعني ان احنا يعني جالي بعض الشباب وسالوني على التكاليف والمصروفات المفروض انها تنخفض شويه، على اعتبار ان الاختبار من البيت حاليا ما عادش بقى التست سنتر بياخد جزء. فهو رد وقال برضه ما زال الموضوع يعني برضه ما نقدرش نقول كده، لانه في 2 مراقبين حاليا بدل مراقب واحد كان قبل كده، وبالتالي التكاليف ما نقدرش نقول انها انخفضت. وهو بيقول ان هو حاول قبل كده في الموضوع، لكن كان بيلاقوا صعوبه في موضوع انه يتم وضع معايير معينه. لكن بيقول طبعا انه المراكز المعتمده اللي هي الريب من البي ام اي هيبقى في قواعد جديده. هذه القواعد الجديده هيكون فيها يعني اخذ في الاعتبار ظروف كل بلد ووضعها، وبالتالي بيعتقد هو انه ده يعني زي شبهه كده بسد وانفتح للتعديلات، وانه بيتوقع ان في تعديلات في هذا الصدد، لكنه ما عندوش اي معلومات عن هذا الموضوع. مستر أوليفر, the question number 5 regarding to Corona pandemic. As you know, Corona pandemic طبعا has caused too much economic problems. The first question is about the projects. As you know, projects now facing big obstacles regarding to supply chain, financial issue, claims, and so on. What is your advice or pieces of advice regarding this issue for our project managers to mitigate the negative impact from the coronavirus, COVID-19, on the projects?
Actually, that's a huge topic, and we could have another session like this to talk about that. I published a little article on that some weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, with survival hints for particularly for project contractors and for customers, for companies in project business. Project business means cross-corporate projects, means you have a buyer paying money for deliveries and for services, and you have someone else to sell just these and get money for that. And I think it's a very, very difficult situation. I would say the main underlying point is take care of your perception of integrity. Don't become the company or the person with the impression that makes the impression you want to rip off others. You want to make an undue benefit out of this situation. I think people are watching you very well, and everybody who is showing that they want to be some profiteers or try profiteering from the situation, I think will lose. And the other thing, of course, is take care of the health of your people where it is possible. Sometimes it's very, very difficult, but the health of people is a very important thing. So integrity is an asset. Your people are an asset. And then the next thing is to hope that it will end as soon as possible. That we will be able to end it as soon as possible. But I'm normally a very optimistic guy, but at this point, I think it will take its time to get out of that. Some countries already are releasing and removing their constraints on people and social distancing, which is actually physical distancing, not social distancing. And I think many of them are too fast. Many of them are doing it too quick. We should have more time to really get the epidemic under control and then get back our economies and our industries. And that's the next thing. Yeah. Advice for project managers: take care of yourself. Take care of your money, of course. Take care of your liquidity, that you're not running out of money. If you have liquidity problems anyway, now is a very, very hard time for you. So, but I think you don't have to tell people too much about that. People have become very careful about that anyway.
Thank you. طبعا مستر أوليفر كنت سألت على موضوع كورونا وأكيد خدتوا بالكم من السؤال وتأثيره على المشاريع، وقلت له يعني نصايحك إيه، وطبعا قال إنه في النهاية يعني الوضع صعب والوضع الصحي برضه صعب، وأي حد هيحاول ينتفع من الموقف الحالي هو خسران. يعني بيتكلم عن الناس اللي بتستغل الظروف وحاجات زي كده. وفي الآخر في مجمل طبعا يعني حديثه اتكلم إنه بيتوقع إن الموضوع هياخد شوية وقت، لكنه هو متفائل بشكل عام. لكن بيقول طبعا إن الناس المفروض تاخد بالها شوية بالذات على موضوع الانفكشن أو العدوى والمرض بشكل عام.
Ahmed, sorry to interrupt you. Will you send the participants after the session some email, a kind of email with some links or so? I could give you the link to pass it on to the participants, to the audience of this article. Yeah.
This is very welcome. This we have already the contact names for our attendees. Any good materials, we can publish it to them directly. Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, now we will move to the questions of our audience. The first questions, from one of our audience. He asked that how would the online exam be different? طبعا we already answered this question. This question already answered. Another question. What about other exams of PMI such as RMB, BGMB, etc.? Do you think, Mr. Oliver, other exams from PMI could be transformed to be also online like PMB certification, or it's especially now for PMB?
Generally, yes. The difference between PMP and the other examinations is just numbers. PMP is huge. We have more than 1 million PMPs worldwide. On the website of PMI, it says almost 1 million. It is over 1 million, meanwhile. I don't know why PMI hasn't celebrated that. I asked someone and didn't get an answer back. RMP, PGMP, and so on are much, much smaller numbers. So RMP and PGMP, in theory, yes, but I don't expect this to be very soon. PMI has to put a lot of focus, emphasis, work now into PMP, and their resources are also limited, and they cannot sit together. They don't come together in Newtown Square. I was a year ago in Newtown Square, and we all sat together, and I held a lecture on project business management, and they were all listening. That's no more possible. Yeah, they all work from home. Yeah. I know a lot of people inside PMI now. I know what their living room looks like. Like I see your room now in your background, yeah, with this beautiful bottle over your head, yeah. So you know a lot about these things now, but for projects such as that, it's much easier to come together and to speak face to face, yeah. So I think if it will happen, it will take time, yeah. And by the way, I think it takes a lot of education of trainers. That's the other thing. We need qualified, maybe certified trainers for that. That's the other thing. That's what these exams need as well. I think the big gap is somewhere else. Yeah. Everyone can trade it. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you. مستر أوليفر طبعا في الإجابة على السؤال وبيقول إن هو يعني بيتكلم إن البي ام بي واخد شوية الفوكس لأن هي أكبر عدد تعدى المليون حاليا ناس سيرتيفايد، إنما الشهادات الثانية بيتكلم إنها يعني عددها قليلة، لكنه بيأمل ذلك في المدى القصير إنه يتم فعلا التعامل معها بنفس الكيفية، وقاعد يضحك يقول يعني كنت متصورين أبدا إنه يتحول لاختبار بالشكل الحالي من البيت. مستر خالد asked, so Agile will not be included in the exam until next January. I think Mr. Oliver now Agile embedded but little bit. The big change it will be in January 2021, right?
It will not be before January 2021. Okay. I would not guarantee that it is not later, that PMI does not have to postpone it again. Again, we have no idea what will happen with the crisis that we have at the moment. So it could there could be another delay. We don't know for sure.
Okay. Another question هنا أو سؤال تاني there is another question. Somebody طبعا asked in Arabic language, but he is asked يعني that too many organizations focusing strongly in applying Agile in their projects. What do you think? Is it better now to focus on Agile rather than traditional methodologies, or we have to balance between the two methods?
That's a very clear answer on that, and I wrote a book on this, particularly on this topic. Just a second.
Okay.
Here's my book. Here is the book on the topic. Can you see it? Situation, yes. Project management, the dynamics of success and failure.
In Amazon, I think.
Yeah, right? My take on that is there are moments when agile methods are the best thing that you can do. You are in a situation where the way is made by walking. Your project is a discovery. You have to find out what are the needs of the users and of the customer and so on. No one can tell you. So identifying requirements on the project is part of the project. And these are the moments when agile methods are very beneficial and when they are the best methods. There are other moments in a project that are completely different. You have to provide predictability and order. You have to book resources with a lead time, maybe of half a year, 9 months, a whole year. You have to book contractors early enough so that they will be available when you need them. You have to order certain parts or certain services in time so that they can be delivered when you need them. You need predictability in order, maybe also because you are active inside an operational environment, and you have to provide predictability and order to your operational colleagues, to the functional organization. You have to tell them in 3 months' time, we will have a week training, and it will be happening just in this specific week, so that they know their staff will be blocked, or you will you'll bring them operational disruptions, something we don't really talk about, but projects bring operational disruptions into operations, of course. So you have to tell operations, when will we start disrupting you? When will we end disrupting you? How deep will the disruption go? How much will we disrupt you? And they have a right to know this from you. So in these situations, you have to provide predictability and order. And one of the weak spots of Agile methods is predictability and order. And that's not by coincidence. They are not made for that. They were not made to provide predictability and order. They are made for an environment where you go on a discovery. So in your projects, there may be situations where you need one method, and other situations where you need the other methods. And let me say on that, it's like a toolbox. If all you have in your toolbox to make a living is a hammer, you have to convince the world that it is nailed together. If you only have a screwdriver, you have to tell the world, dear world, you are screwed. As soon as you have both tools, and some other tools as well, it's not just the two. The world is not black and white. As soon as you have more tools at hand, you can manage more situations in project management.
Thank you, Mr. أوليفر. طبعا مستر أوليفر هنا في الإجابة على السؤال بيتكلم طبعا إنه في النهاية كان يعني قام مشكورا ورانا كتاب بتاع كتب عنده، هو أكثر من كتاب موجود على أمازون، تقدروا تبحثوا باسمه أوليفر اف ليمان، هتلاقوا موجودة الكتب بتاعته. بيتكلم على السيتويشنال، يعني هو الكتاب بتاعه مسميه سيتويشنال، يعني ان اداره المشاريع دي موقفيه، ما هياش حاجه جامده في كل الحالات. وده يمكن البي ام اي بيسعى للفتره اللي جايه في تعديلات الاصدار السابع بقى ان شاء الله. وهو بيتكلم بيقول انه في بعض الحالات بيكون الافضل انك تستخدم البريدكتيف اللي هي الطرق التقليديه او طريقه الشلال او الطرق التنبؤيه، وفي بعض الحالات الاجايل او الادابتيف. وبيقول ان الادابتيف فيها شويه عيوب شويه، انها ديسكفري ابروتش، وبيكون في مشكله في البريدكشن، وبيعمل مشاكل احيانا في الاوبريشن لما نستخدم الأجل. Another question, Mr. Oliver, shall we expect more focus on benefit management on PMBOK 7 instead of current approach, schedule, cost, scope, etc.?
I think we would first need to discuss what we mean when we say benefit management. I see different definitions of benefit and of benefit management. I think there are limitations of the benefit management that certain project managers can do, because they're not hired to provide benefit. They are hired to just do the project, and someone else will look after the benefit, a project sponsor or whatever it is. Personally, I think we should focus much more on benefit management, and we should convince organizations to use project managers more for that. I think the PMBOK Guide 7 is on the way to do that. And I think the question of Mohammed Albiladi, I think he will find the result positive in his questions. Yes, I think we can answer this with yes, but to what degree is something we'll have to see.
BMI, I think in the draft which we have already commented in 1 month ago, I think there is a new subject called it value system.
Yes.
The value system has already embedding benefit management from the program approach, from the program level until the delivery level in the projects. I think the new subject in the PMBOK version 7 will already, Mr. Muhammad will embed already benefit management. But the benefit management in the PMBOK 7 it will be already, it will be theoretical, not as a processes or activities like program management. Because as you know, benefit management is a major subject inside program management level. The benefit management, one of the major activities for the program manager, especially in program management methodology. Right, Mr. Okay. Another question from one of our attendees. I think Mr. Ahmed Al-Shahrani, PMB Online, Mr. Oliver, PMB Online, it will be continuously or it will be temporary until coronavirus disappeared?
That's a good question. I don't know. I tell you what I expect. When a forest is burnt down, new trees grow very fast, but it's different trees to the old trees. The old trees were old trees, now young trees come, and it's the fast growing trees that grow first, obviously, and later slow growing trees. So I think we may see some kind of, in German we call it Wirtschaftswunder. It's something like an economic miracle or so, but we won't see it in all countries. And I think the big question is, how well will we be in cooperating? My approach with project business management is a cooperative approach, and those companies that will be good in cooperating with other companies will be faster in their projects. So there's a chance that it will go up again, and maybe relatively quick, but I don't think that we are already at the point to expect this for the next weeks or so. I think it will get more difficult in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. And again, I'm an optimist by heart normally. You know?
طبعا مستر اوليفر بيقول انه ما يقدرش طبعا يتوقع، وكان ضرب مثال لما بيقول الثلج بيسيح بتبدا الاشجار الصغيره تطلع والكبيره بيفضل برضه معدل نموها صغير، لكن طبعا الصغيره هي اللي بتطلع بنمو سريع. بيتكلم على حته يعني الغموض حاليا والالتباس حوالين الوضع في المستقبل، لكن بيتوقع انه ما يتغيرش الموضوع. What about O3P is for project management office? Is this way to improve the spirit certificate? Mr. Oliver, there is a question here regarding to PMO. Do you think PMI could provide a certificate in project management office?
Actually, we have that. That is what the portfolio management professional, in my understanding, should be. It's not a certificate for the top manager who does project selection, as we have it at the moment more. I think it should be a PMO certificate, because PMO work is portfolio management. So I think it's already there. Whether it has the focus on PMOs is another question. I think that's where we should have the PFMP, and I agree this would be something valid to have. It would be good to have that, yeah.
Thank you. مستر أوليفر طبعا بيقول ان هو حاليا شهاده البي اف ام بي اللي هي البورتفوليو مانجمنت بروفيشنال بتغطي قوي هذا الجزء، وهي تعتبر يعني بمثابه الجزء اللي هو بيشتغل به البي ام او او مكتب اداره المشاريع كاداره المحافظ. We have almost finished, Mr. Oliver, our audience questions. We would like.
May I ask you something? There is one question that I would like to respond to. Mohammed Labadi, Agile versus Lean, or Agile and so on. I think this is not versus. This is, we have different tools in the toolbox. My hammer and my screwdriver are peaceful together in the toolbox. They don't hurt each other. And when I need them, I take them out. And when I need another tool, I put them back and take the other tool out. So I think it's not versus. This versus thing, I dislike this VS here. I think it should say we have different tools at hand. We have different knowledges at hand, pieces of knowledge at hand. We have different methods at hand. And that's what the PMP will be in future. It will ask you, are you the person who can use one tool in one moment and another tool and another one? And that's precisely where I would like to see PMP. So.
We have another question, Mr. Oliver, but quickly, because we have already a live Facebook. We have many questions. I will select كده 1 or 2 questions maximum. Somebody asked about PMB exam is the longest and difficult if compared with the other exam or others exam. Is it a way to split into two levels?
I know that PMI is rethinking the structure of examinations. So yeah, there could be something happening in the future. I hear a bit what the discussions are. I met the people, talked with the people involved in these discussions. I don't have any detailed knowledge where they really stand at the moment and what the strategy is for the future, but I know this is in discussion, yes. Not just splitting, just restructuring the portfolio of certifications.
I think PMI also has published recently the Standard Plus. Standard Plus, I think it will complete the weaknesses which we before have mentioned about templates, formats, methodologies, practices. I think later on in edition 7, PMBOK edition 7, I think it will be mandatory or other way to take the exam and make maybe practical part in Standard Plus to cover the practical side for the PMB. As you know, PMB now is only questions, but if we complete it or add another part to be practically, I think the certified will be able to apply the skills, knowledge in his project management.
Could happen. I don't expect this for the PMP. The current format has one big advantage. It has its disadvantages, no question, but it has some big advantages. One is you have statistical numbers. You can use statistics. You see whether what you do in the examination is right or wrong and how changes affect the examination. So I think that's a very strong thing here. Yeah. But we have more certificates like PGMP, PFMP, and so on, where other methods are being used, assessments and such things. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. At the end of this meeting, we have, we would like to thank you very much. I myself, I have benefited greatly from this meeting. Too much information about PMB new exam notification, new PMB exam from home, and also January new modification as well. Thank you again. And inshallah, we hope to implement another meeting in another subject, inshallah.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Salam to all of you. And I'm looking forward to maybe have a second meeting, maybe on another topic. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you. شكرا جزيلا للإخوة الزملاء ورمضان مبارك علينا جميعا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.